Hi guys, it is 8 o'clock on Sunday night. I hope everybody is doing well. I am just doing my usual here and just tallying up the computer and the phone together so we can go on this live demonstration. Tonight what I'm going to be showing you is I'm going to be doing, hi Martina, first out of the blocks, how are you? So tonight what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a sugar orchid for you. I'm going to show you how I make my sugar orchids and hopefully you'll get some ideas and all that out of it. What I just need to do is, hi guys, so lovely to see a few of you starting to show in. So before I do tonight, I am aware just that there's a lot of people from different groups that want to join in on this demonstration, and which is fantastic, and I've been getting messages all week from all over the world, which is lovely. I've had, messages from Canada, messages from Egypt. It's really lovely to see everybody joining in and enjoying the demonstrations, I think. So that's really nice to see. What I want to do tonight, just before I start, there is a couple of bits of kind of housekeeping that I want to do. So first of all, great, I've got all your comments and everything coming up. Hi Carol, hi everybody. Just let me know that you can hear me okay and you can see everything okay, if that's all right. So before I start tonight, there is a couple of just little small bits of housekeeping that I want to do. A couple of shout outs that I'd like to do. There's a group of us it's a group that's called Cake Artists United, the Global Isolation Room. So you'll have seen me tagging a few of the groups and a few of the pages here. Today we've some amazing demonstrations going on in the group. So if anybody wants to join in, you can just let us know and request to join, and we can certainly add you into the group. It's a really lovely group set up by Shell Robinson. So it's a really lovely group. A couple of shout outs to do, and I meant to say to you last week, if you've got anybody who's got birthdays or celebrations, maybe you can't be with them but you'd like us to give them a shout out, just let me know, just message me here on the page, and I can certainly give a couple of shout outs. Tonight I'm raising a glass. I'm doing a little toast to a couple of people. First one is a very special person in my life called Geraldine, and she was kind of surrogate mother to me for a long time when I worked in Dublin, a country girl up in Dublin. It's her birthday today. Geraldine, a very happy birthday to you. Zlatina, hopefully you're on, Zlatina, are you? I hope you are. Zlatina, welcome home. You had a bit of a tough old time for the last few weeks, so really good to see you home. When I see your name popping up, I will salute you again, but welcome home, Zlatina. Helen, a very special caker friend in the UK who has been in hospital for the last little while. Welcome home, Helen, and we all wish you the very best. I know you've got a bit of a road ahead of you, but also a toast to you. I hope you guys have a drink in your hand and we can toast these people together and wish them well. There's some good stories coming up this week. On behalf of the group, the Cake Artists United, the Isolation Room, we would like to wish a toast to Sarah Lou. Again, a very special UK cake artist. So we'd like to, on behalf of all the group of us at the Cake Artists, we would like to raise a toast to Sarah Lou as well this week. Sarah Lou, we're all thinking about you. My cakey mates, Sharon, Raid and Nicola, of course, who are just fantastic cakey mates as always. They're always here and they're always backing me up. I'd like to also raise a toast to them. I'm not drinking it each time, you notice that, because orchids and sugar flowers and alcohol are not great, but I can tell you I will be having this later on. My final toast tonight is for all of our frontline workers. I've been talking to a few of them this week, and they're going through, we all know what they're going through, it's a tough old time for them. So I would like to raise a very special toast to all of our frontline workers, and to say hello and thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts for everything that they're doing. That one I will drink on. So just a few shout outs. And like I say, during the week, I'll be here for the next few Sunday nights. For the foreseeable, I've got the next 2 weeks demonstrations already lined up, and I have a list of 12 flowers. So I've got the next 3 months lined up in flowers that I'm going to be making and sharing with you. Certainly no problem sharing any of my ideas or any of my techniques with you. Absolutely no problem at all to do that. Please feel free to tag in your friends and share your friends and everything as well. So tonight, as I say, this is the lady we're going to be making. So this is how, this is my Dendrobium, Phalaenopsis, or my moth orchids. These are the guys that I make. So I'm going to show you exactly how I create these flowers. They're a great flower. Hopefully, I know some of you guys have been making some during the week, and I've seen a few different posts coming up, which has been brilliant. And it's been really lovely to see that. So different ones. Hi guys, few you shouting out there. New Zealand, hi everybody. Martina, all perfect. Thank you, Martina. I'm going to show you that orchid I was talking to you about now during the week. Hi Shelley, hello my darling. Guys, if anybody missed Shelley's demonstration during the week, it is on the Cake Artists United group page. It was on making lavender. Absolutely stunning demonstration, and I tell you, Shelley, you're so calming. You're just fantastic. So yeah, that's another one, another demonstration. And just there at 6 o'clock we had a wafer flower anemone, also on the group page. So there's lots of videos and demonstrate. Don't leave me now, don't be going anywhere, but you can watch it again because they'll all be saved on the group, so you'll be able to see it there. All right. Just before I do start tonight, because I know that there are a few people that are will be joining us in a couple of minutes, so you guys can give me a heads up when you're here. I wanted to just show you tonight a couple of the ways that I come up with my I guess my flowers and my designs. I mean, we're very limited on kind of the sugar flower books that we get. It really is a small library of books that we're able to get. So I just wanted to show you a couple of the different books that I use. Sort of think outside the box. I always talk about this, just go outside the box a little small bit. It's 3 a.m. in the Philippines. Elma, you're amazing. I hope you either have a strong coffee or a drink in your hand. And in Peru, how are you? So yeah, I just wanted to show you a couple of the books that, you know, they might be of interest to you, and we'll get on with the demonstration then in a couple of minutes. Is that okay? So I'm just going to shoot you down here so you can see, and mind my notes don't go flying everywhere on me. So just let me pop you down here, and I'm going to show you just a couple of these little books that I use. And as always, I will get through the notes and the comments here as quickly as ever as I can. So I just want to be certain. Yes, so my notes went flying, but that's okay. we'll get regrouped here in about 2 seconds. So everybody knows, like, there are certain sugar flower books obviously available. So this, Martina, do not let me forget to show you that orchid. I was talking about a different orchid. There's obviously hundreds and hundreds of types of orchids. So I was talking to Martina during the week about another orchid, and I did manage to get it made. So I'll give you a look at that then at the end as well. Don't let me forget, folks. So I think maybe if I just rise you a small little bit, hopefully you can see this is a small little bit better. Okay, so this book here, I know this is going to be backwards. I'll actually take photographs of these at the end, and I'll pop them up at the end of the posts for you. This is a really, really good book. It's actually clay flowers, and clay flowers are a huge thing, but we can't use clay flowers on cakes because the ingredients in the clay, they're not suitable to use on cakes. Even with a barrier, I think they're not very suitable, but stunning. This book here is very good. It's got all sort of step-by-step instructions and everything, you know, that you can see lots of different step-by-step techniques and all measurements, colors, different techniques and everything. So it's quite a good one. It's called Amazing Clay Flowers, and this is, I can't pronounce this name, Noriko Kawaguchi, excuse my pronunciation, but it's a very good book, just for different kind of techniques. All right, so you will, amazing, if you just look up Amazing Clay Flowers, it's a really good one. This one here, no clue what it's called. Tyon, if he was around, actually he might well be able to tell me. This is a book that I picked up not so long ago, and it is, I mean, you don't need to be able to speak the language. You can just use the pictures, which is what I do. I was at the Germany show just before Christmas, and one of the students was trying to help me to translate, and you know, she was also trying to do the class. She was very kindly translating for me. Haven't got a word of German, but you know, your eyes can teach you. You don't need to be able to speak the language. No clue what any of that says. Not a Scooby-Doo, as they say, but I couldn't even Google the explanations because I didn't know the letters. So, but look, it's got lots and lots of tutorials. So again, it's all on just you know, your sugar flowers and your clay flowers. Another Chinese one, I think. I think she says, and she hasn't a clue really, but anyway, again, lots of different techniques. So if you look up for clay flower books, there seems to be a slightly better range. Okay. This one here is and I know it's facing backwards. I can't mirror image the thing, but I will take photographs of everything. Don't be giving me angry faces, people. I'm doing my best. I know it's backwards. I know it's the other way. I will take photographs of all of these books and I'll pop them up in the comments at the very end. I know they're backwards on it. I apologise. I don't have the technology to flip this around. This one here is called The Fine Art of Paper Flowers. So again, this is a book. Now I would go to the book depository quite a bit and get books there, and they're very, very good books. This one here it's basically on crepe paper and you know, for making paper flowers. So again, this one gives you all sorts of, there's patterns, there's lots of different flowers in it, all your stencils, all your shapes are in it, and different all the different techniques. And my guess is, you know, these here, while they're done out of paper and each petal is cut out individually, but actually if you had your rose petal cutter, it will give you the same shape. So you can easily transfer these into, look at this beauty, isn't that gorgeous? So you can easily transfer this into flour paste or sugar paste, you know. So I mean, I love books. I'm very tactile and I love books, and I think people in general are. So it's always nice to get them, and book depository is brilliant, you know, it's really good for it. Okay, and just for anyone that's just joined, I'm just giving it a couple of minutes because I know some people are watching the speech is over. Liz, thank you very much. So Her Majesty has finished her speech now. I will catch up on it later on, and we just wanted to give everybody a chance to get to see it, and then you can join in. All right. I mean, does she not know I'm here at 8 o'clock every Sunday night? So this book here. So again, this one is called The Art of Fine Paper Flowers, and it's from Tiffany Turner. I will post up photographs of all of these guys later on. This is one of my favorites. This is called, and again, this from the book depository is just the one I use. I'm sure you can get it plenty of other places. The Flower Recipe Book. So my biggest struggle always is to put an arrangement together. While you can make all these arrangements, it's putting them together. And even though in another lifetime I used to be a wedding florist, so I kind of would have a small bit of an eye for it, but always it's very you know, just sometimes to arrange them. I mean, I made poppies for my last competition and no way would they sit properly in the vase, so I actually ditched them and I made completely new flowers for it, so they just wouldn't sit properly. But this book here is one of my absolute favourite, and it's a go-to. It's the Flower Recipe Book, okay? And basically how it operates is it will give you all sorts of different arrangements, okay? But it will give you, so for the arrangement, it will give you the recipe. I know I'm well aware you won't see this. It'll give you the recipe of everything that you're going to need. It'll talk you through different containers, the different leaves, the different flowers and everything, and then talk you through how to arrange them. So it's nice to have a visual, you know, just before that you start on it. Lots of different ones in here. Again, this is beautiful. The animals like what Anna made earlier on the group page. It's a really stunning one, and lots of different flowers. So they're just, look, just a few little bits and pieces. This book is actually also very good because quite often it's going to show you the parts of a flower. So if you're making sugar flowers, if you want to see the parts of the flowers, it kind of shows you the breakdown of them, and this is how I learn a lot of flowers and how to make them. The other thing that I actually do is I'm a huge thing on Pinterest. I love Pinterest because it's just all pictures and you don't have to do a lot of reading. I can read, but you don't have to do a lot of reading. But on Pinterest, I will go in and I will key in, let's say, for example, this is the cosmos. So I will go in, I'll key in cosmos anatomy. And what it'll actually give me then a lot of the time is it'll give me drawings, or it'll give me the breakdown of the flowers. And then I can go bit by bit and I can make the flower, if that makes sense. So I can make the flower. So that's a fantastic book. Really, really good book. The Flower Recipe Book. All right, so I will pop up pictures of all those guys later on. They're just some interesting reads as well, and some interesting bits and pieces. So shall I get on? Okay. We are, Marion, absolutely not. Her Madge did not realise that I was here. But we shall forgive her. I think, I'll see it. I will see it later on. It's one of those rare speeches. So tonight we're going to make the orchid. And just for anybody, again, who just missed there at the start, this here is the orchid flower that we're going to be making. All right. So this is a moth orchid. And the little buds and everything on it. There is one other one here that I was asked about during the week, and it is this lad here. So you see, Martina, this one was the one I was telling you about. So you'll see the different parts of it, the lip and the petals, the sepals, all the different parts of it. So Marion, you know now what I'm talking about, and I'll talk you through it again. There are hundreds and hundreds of different orchids. So just before I start then, let me just clear the deck and let me show you the tools and equipment that I'm going to be using. So pretty easy tools and equipment. I use the finest of expensive equipment. Okay, the cutters that I'm using and the veiners that I'm using, these are a favourite of mine. So I use the Squire's Kitchen, the Great and Precious, the Phalaenopsis orchid, or the moth orchid it's always called. These are the veiners that I've used. So I've been stocking up like crazy all week. And this one, I'll just show you this against the green. These are the cutters. Can you see? So it's a little pack. There's 3 cutters in the packet of it. You'll see them better now when they're actually out of the plastic. Sometimes the plastic's just a little bit of a shine on it. Also, ball tools here, again, metal ball tools, and I will talk about this now as we go through it, but metal ball tools are always my preference. They're just cold. My hands are not too hot, but a lot of people, if you've got very hot hands, Martina, you see what I mean? If you've got hot hands, the metal ball tools for sure are definitely better to work with. So this is the ball tool, steel ball tools that I use. Okay, just to let you see the veiners, again, these are the set of veiners that come in the pack. Okay, so they're again the moth orchid, and you can see the little bit of texture here on it. Beautiful textures. Now there are hundreds of different types of orchids, different cutters, different veiners and everything you can get. This is my particular favorite orchid to make, I have to say. It just always sits really well in together. This is my set of cutters here. Okay, so it's a set of 3. We've got the petal, this is the petal cutter, this is the sepal cutter, okay, and this is the cutter for the throat, which is just a great shape. So I'm going to show you how to manipulate all this. Okay, the flower paste then that I use, this is my own brand flower paste, as you know, a lot of you will know this. It's just my own flower paste that I developed about 1.5 years ago, I guess now, and I've got it in like 18 different colours. So I'm using this. Another question that I often get asked is how do you know what colour to make the petal? Well, for example, if you go on the orchid that we're using here, and we've got quite a lot of pink, but actually you need to look at the real flower. You need to look at what's the palest colour that the flower is, and that's the colour that you're going to make your petals in. And then your dusting is going to change the colour, and your painting, that's all going to change the colour. All right, so I'm using just an off-white or a white for these guys here. That's the colour that we're using, and it will be the same for any flower, depending on what the palest colour in the flower is, because you'll highlight up your petals then with the colour when you're done. All right, so we'll get on the owl spectacles and we'll get going. I'm also using, so I've got my flower paste wires I'm using here. They're a 26G wire, okay. And for anybody that's new, because I know some people are very new to flower making, some people hate it, that's fine. Some people love it. I would spend all day. I'm actually guilt-free flower making for the last week. It's no work, but I'm guilt-free on making flowers, so it's fantastic. Edna, the brand of cutters are Blooms, and the brand of veiners are Squires. All right, they're the ones. I mean, Google moth orchid cutters. There are lots of different brands of them, but get yourself a good set. There's a lot of cheap brands which are just not great. So the wires that we use are paper covered wire, okay, and they come in lengths of 14-inch length. When you get your wires, then what you want to do is select the gauge that you want, okay. So each pack of wire is going to come with a number on it. So this is a 28. I think I said 26, but 26 or 28 works for the orchid petals. The higher the number, the finer the petal, okay. So they'll start at a number 18 and they'll work up to 33, 35, okay. Number 33, 35, I mean, they're the holy grail of wires. That are next to impossible to get. They're the ones that you keep for, sorry, I'll correct that. They're the ones that I keep for competition pieces, and they're in the do not touch drawer under any circumstances drawer. You know that drawer? And they're in there because they're very, very difficult to get. I stock up when I go to CI every year. And you know, they're just so fine. They're like scientific wire kind of fine. All right. So 28 gauge wire. What you want to do then is you want to get your snips. You want to cut your wire in 4. Now you notice if I hold the wire straight, my snips is at an angle, so it's at about a 45 degree. Do not cut your wires at a 90 degree angle, okay? Cut at 45, so we're going to cut this in 4, and I'll tell you why in a second. And we're going to cut it again 45 degree angle, okay? Why do you do this? I'll tell you why. Because if you cut your wires at a 90 degree angle, you've got a blunt cut. If you cut them at a 45 degree angle, you'll not see it, I would say. You probably can't. But if you cut them at 45 degree angles, now you've got a pinpoint on the end of them. So when we go to put the wire into the petal, because every petal here is veined, so when we go to put the wire into the petal now, we've got a pinpoint on it, so it'll go straight into the petal. If you've cut them straight across at a 90, you're trying to get the wire in at a blunt end, if that makes sense. So get into that habit, 45 degree angle, always. Just do it always, and then you're not going to mess up, all right? What I would normally do is I'll actually cut both ends. So then, because obviously when these go into the box, then, well, which end is the right end? So cut the 2 ends at 45 degree angle, done. All right, that's your prep done there. All right. What we want to do then is we want to take some of our flower paste, and I'm just going to make this in white. Actually, maybe, yeah, I'll make it in white. If you've any questions as I'm going along, please do ask. If I've missed any of your comments as they go up, I will come back and I'll go through all the comments at the very end of the demonstration, and I will come back to you, all right, with answers, or as best I can. They've been popping up all week, but Facebook is a little bit funny with live videos, and sometimes it's a small bit hard to catch up on the comments, so you have to kind of root through on them. So the flower paste here, this is, as I say, this is my own brand of flower paste. Can you see when you start to work it first? Let me get rid of white. So when you start to work it first, it's short, okay? So, hi Gail, how are you? Hi everybody. It's lovely to see everybody here, really lovely. And invite all your friends, and please ask any questions if you've any questions for you. There's Brendan O'Neill. How are you going, Brendan? Can you see now as I'm starting to work this, it's starting to stretch, okay? And this flower paste, it's got lemon oil in it, so it's lovely and fresh. It's kind of like sorbet. So it starts to stretch. Basically what you're doing here is that you're actually activating the gums, and you're warming up the gums in the paste. A few of the questions, and I'll go through them as I'm talking as well, I got asked during the week, the difference between fondant and flower paste. So fondant is, they're all sugar icing, but the fondant is what you use for covering your cakes. Okay, so it's the rollout icing. It's what you use to cover your cakes. It doesn't set rock hard. Okay, it'll always stay a small bit soft because it's got glycerine in it. Glycerine acts as a humectant, which holds moisture and draws moisture from the air, so it will not go rock hard on you. Your flower paste then has got a higher level of gum in it. So this paste here you can use for modelling. You can use it for obviously sugar flowers. You can use it for all sorts of different fine work. The beauty of any of the flower pastes or gum paste, same thing, is that you can roll them ultra fine. So you can go very, very fine. Now we won't be going ultra fine tonight because orchids are not very fine. They're a more fleshy kind of a petal on them. But if you look back on my if you look back on my videos from the last couple of weeks, I've showed you how to make roses and cosmos last week, and you can see how fine that you can go on it. All right. So what you need to do is you need to knead up the icing. Now, another question that people always ask in class, I keep getting bits of fluff in my paste. What's happening? I clean down the bench and I clean down my workboards and all the rest. What's happening is you need to take off your woolly jumper. Simple. Wear cotton. Or wear, you know, your uniform tops or your chef's jackets. Very simple answer, very simple fix. If you want to be certain before you start, take a little small piece of paste, rub that all over your board and keep on folding it in, rub it all over the board, okay? And it will clean off, because especially if you've been dusting or painting or anything like that, it'll just clean off all of this for you, okay? Scrap that piece of paste. We're obviously not going to use that. Clean and done, okay? So yeah, that's you prepped then and ready to go. All right. And always when you're not using your paste, you need to keep it in your pot or keep it underneath a pot, just so the air doesn't get at it, depending where you are in the world. And I know some of you guys are in kind of very, very humid and very hot countries. So if you keep it under the pot, now the air can't get to it, and you can just take off a little piece as and when you need it. All right. Hi from Blessington, Tatiana, just up the road, and from Cork. Hi everybody. Susan, you made roses today with my flower paste. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you loved doing it. And in Aberdeen in Scotland, how's it over there, Thelma? Is it very damp at the minute? It's raining, lashing rain here all day. So yes, so the different pastes will react different, obviously, in different temperatures. So what we want to do then to get started is we want to make our outer petals and this one here. Okay, so we want to just make all our parts. My preference is I prep everything first. So today I'll make all my petals and I'll make everything, I'll make them all, and then tomorrow I'll come and I'll paint them and dust them and everything. My preference is to paint and dust when petals are dry. Some people do it while they're still soft. I just get it. I just find that, you know, the petal ends up flopping around everywhere. I get thick and the petals get broken, and you know, it's not a happy sight. So I just leave them dry, dust them, then paint them or do whatever that I'm doing on them. All right. So we're going to take, for the smaller, for the larger at least petals here, the wider ones, we're going to take a little piece of paste. Now, even if I've just worked this, I'll still work it a little small bit again. Judy from Saskatchewan, Canada. I know the flag at least. Excuse my pronunciation. Tell me it's windy. Yeah, it's a bit rough here, so it is. So we're going to just take a little small bit. The board that I'm using is one of the veining boards. All right, and any of these veining boards here, they have different depths of grooves in them at least. All right, now there's loads and loads of different brands and everything that you can get. So you decide. This one here is the one that I want to go on the center vein. I'm going to just make that into a little teardrop, pop it down on top of the vein. Okay. Roll it out now into the couple of bits of directions. So I'm coming left and right. I'm not moving my paste. Now I generally tend not to use any corn flour or any Trex or white fat with this. If I don't need it, I don't use it, because if I use it, then I've got to get rid of it. So if I don't need it, I'll just not use it. So I'm rolling out to all the different directions, and it won't stick to the board. Absolutely won't stick to the board. I'm going to take my veiner. I'm going to pop it so I can see, if I actually just pull the rolling pin here, I can see where the vein is there. So I want the vein up the center, okay, up the center of the petal. So my vein is up here. I'm going to press that down. These here, I sell a lot of these guys. They're an acrylic block, an acrylic square. And I use them all the time for the simple reason, especially actually for bigger petals, because quite often your board can be buckled, your cutter can be buckled, you know, you might be buckled, who knows. So I use an acrylic block, I press that down, I get a nice clean cut with it. Hold my fingers now on the cutter, lift the paste up and over, okay? So I'm trying to leave the paste on my board, and this will just make inserting the wire, and I'll show you how to insert it off the board in a second. So now I can lift it off my petal, or my cutter at least, okay? So we've got the petal, and you can see the vein is going up through it. The vein is basically, think of a varicose vein on the back of your leg. It's the vein that's going to run up the back of the petal. I'm going to just soften out those edges with my finger, and I don't want to distort the shape if I can at all, okay? Turn it now on a 90-degree angle, okay? I'm going to take one of my wires, and remember we've these cut on a 45-degree angle, all right? Hi from Morocco, hi for Canada. Isn't this amazing that Kenya, Western Florida, this is amazing that everybody just comes together. I think it's an incredible time. It's a tough time, but I think it's an incredible time. So many people have given so much. It's really amazing. So I've turned my board on a 90. So I've cut it like this. I've turned it now on a, is that 90 degrees? Yeah, that's 90 degrees. Okay. I'm dipping my wire into glue, just a couple of mil. Rub off the excess on the back of your hand. Do not leave, don't just dip it in and go, okay? It gets into a sorry mess, and it just gets into an awful mess. I'm taking my acrylic block again, and I'm putting that down over the petal, okay? Now what I'm doing is, I'm doing, popping the wire in, twist and push, twist and push, twist and push. I can see it possibly, oh sorry, apologies, the light was shining. Probably you can't see it. So I'm twist and push, and I can see the wire is exactly here. So it's about halfway up. Okay, that's all you need to do. The acrylic block actually will just hold it in place. It's just it'll just hold it down in place. So especially if you've got hot hands, it'll save that you won't stick. Now, two ways you can lift it off. Do not lift it off from the top. Lift off at the wire, because the wire is in place, and that's going to lift off for you. All right, so you see, no corn flour, nothing. It hasn't stuck to it. I just want to show you here. Let me just grab one of my this here. Can you see that the wire is popped out a little small bit? Can you see that at all? Shout out there. Gail, you can't wait for my shop to reopen. I swear, I opened the shop on the 2nd of March. I closed it on the 13th of March, and I'm in lockdown ever since. Anyway, Gail, I seriously can't wait for it to reopen. I go in and have a little visit and check everything's okay, and I stand in the middle of it and look at the door locked and everything. But anyway, we'll get back there. We're safe and healthy, and that's the main thing. So I'm not sure if you can see here that the wire has just come up a little small bit. Don't ditch it. If you can see the wire at the back, don't ditch it, okay? What you want to do is you want to get yourself an angle tweezers, and we're going to just literally sink this back down, sink the wire back down. I'm going to squeeze the paste up over the wire, so I'm recreating that vein. It happens, you know, sometimes it will happen to you if it's just you've not guided it in right. It's not a problem. It's absolutely not a problem. So it's back in, and maybe not, you can see it's back in on the vein. All right. What we do then is we take our veiner, and again, these are the Squire's Kitchen veiners, which I just love, absolutely love them. We want to put the petal into our veiner, okay, and these are the side petals, okay, and we want to just press down, not too heavy. What is it, girls? It's flour paste, it's not concrete, okay? No, girl, you can't see. Bunny, how are you? Bunny, trust me, it's there. So I press down on this, not too heavy. You want to just give it a minute. There's quite a lot of detail in this petal and a lot of veining in it. So you just want to make sure that you've pressed in. If it's a thing that you're not getting, the veins are not coming through on the petal, it can mean two things. You've just gone in and you've slapped it shut and taken it off. Sure, it hasn't a hope of getting the veins. Or you've not worked your flour paste before you've rolled it out and put in the wire, so it's not warmed up and it's not softened up a little small bit. Okay, so there are a couple of things. If you find also, when you take it off, you see these, look at that, delicious, look at that, look. Okay, so you see all the different veins in it. If it's a thing that you're making petals, and for any petals or any leaf or anything, and the wires keep on popping out, okay, the problem there is that you're using too thick a wire. Drop a size. Okay, so again on the wires, they start at 18 and they'll run up to a 33, and they will, the higher the number, the finer the wire. Okay, so if you're having that problem with your petals that the wires keep on popping out, poking through at least, just go up a size, go up a number, and it should make the difference to you. I'm popping the petal on now onto my veining board. Now, let me just show you different ball tools that I use. So I've got a bit of a selection. This is the small bad boy. Okay, I've got his big brother that will do damage, but he will do damage too, you know, if you need him to. And I've got lots of different ones. My preference is on the metal ball tools. They're colder and they will work better. I find, lads, what I'm telling you here, it's not law. Do you know what I mean? This is just the way I do things, and it's my opinion. Every sugar artist, as we all know, will have a different method and a different way of doing it. So each to their own, but this is just how I work. So I just wanted to share it with you. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm half on the paste and I'm half off. So can you see? Do not frill the petal. Do not frill the petal. That's a waggy finger. Okay. So just soften it. You don't want that cut edge. Most moth orchids, most moth orchids, the petals are quite smooth, so there's no frill or anything on them. But we just want to soften that edge. Okay. And that's it. Now we want this to dry, and we want it to dry with a little bit of a cup. So you can buy cupped formers, polystyrene. You can use, oh, I forgot to bring them out. Hang on, because these are worth seeing. Wait. I have to show you these. Now. Sorry. My mother, I inherited these lovely silver spoons. But like, lads, I wouldn't drink soup out of them. Sure, I'd drown in it. So I use them for my sugar flowers. So what I do, but my mother's happy out, they get used. Happy out. So I push my petal into that. They've got the most perfect cup, look. Okay. So you can use your soup spoons. Now keep an eye, I'd be a devil for, I have a friend of mine, I won't mention her, but she knows who she is. She's in antique shops and charity shops all the time. And I do say to her, look out for old soup spoons, because they're so deep. The ones you get now are not. Okay. So look at that. You could actually ladle. It's like a ladle. So I can dry my petal in this and it will hold the form. Or if you want to go all out, this is what you can do. Ta-da! You can get tin foil, double layered tin foil, press that over the back of your spoon, or a Christmas bauble. This is what my husband does it on. Christmas bauble. Press that on and you've got a perfect former. See? Crafters have got to be crafty, huh? So you can leave it dry in this and it will give you that perfect little cup shape. All right. So either the antique soup spoons that Auntie whoever gave you, or the tin foil, or you can buy the formers. You choose. All right. So you can do it either ways. So we make this and we leave it set. Now you did see when I made the petal, it's not over thick, or over thin at least, because orchid petals, they're a little bit fleshy. So they're not very, very thick. All right. So Latina, do I have the tweezers in the shop? I think I may well have a couple of sets of tweezers in the shop. Tatiana, I'm so positive we need to know that we're going to get back to normal. Absolutely, we will get back to normal. We absolutely will get back to normal eventually. You've got to believe that. Okay, so you need 2 of these wing petals, okay? And then you need to make the sepals they're called, okay? Which are the side petals, okay? So we're just going to take a little piece of paste again, not so big, okay? There's lots of angry faces flying up. I'm sorry if I'm making people angry. I'm not really sure what I'm doing to make you angry, but I'm sorry if I am. I'm doing my best. That's all I can do. Okay, so we want to make 3 of these guys here, and these are the sepals, which are like the guard petals on the back, on the outside of the orchid. So again, we're rolling up just in the directions, and I'm not going super thin, okay? I'm not going super thin on it, all right? And now I'm taking my next cutter here, and again I want to center that over the vein, and this is, I'm not sure the brand of this veining board, it's one I've had for a long time. There are lots of different, there are lots and lots of different veining boards that you can get. Some good, some not so good. Cell cakes. Someone tell me cell cakes. They're quite a good one. But I'm not sure. This may be a cell cake, so I'm not sure. My husband actually did, you know, the acrylic blocks. So I got a thicker one of these, and he got a file, and he filed in grooves into it. He's a great lad. I'll keep him. But he filed in grooves into it for me because I couldn't get one fine enough. So he's done that job for me. So again, I'm putting on the acrylic block here. Placing that on over the petal. I've got my 26 gauge wire, a little bit of glue, wipe off any excess, and I'm just holding, let me be sure you can see. So I'm just holding my finger down just to hold that acrylic block. I'm popping the wire in where that vein is on the board, twist and push, twist and push. And when you're doing this and you're looking, you can see exactly where the wire is. Lift off the acrylic block now, and now you can lift it up. So you can see the vein that the board made on the back, and I've got the wire then inserted into the middle of it. All right, we're going to take our next veiner here. Okay, if anybody, guys, if you have questions as I'm going along, please shout, or if you don't like to ask on the thing, message my page. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Absolutely no problem at all. Some people don't like to ask them on the video. That's not a problem. So I've got my petal in here. This is the veiner, and always with the veiners I'm putting the cupped side down. Okay, so Latina, I don't know if you saw earlier, I toasted you, I gave you a welcome home, so I'm not sure if you saw it. I'll have another drop for you now in a while that you're home. Place the other veiner on top, press this down so you get those nice little veins. Do not wiggle it all over the place because that's going to distort the veins. Press it down, kind of massage it down into it so you get those lovely veins on the petal. Okay, all right. Okay, and again we're going to place that then to dry, a little tin foil former, place that in to dry. So you want that nice and cupped. Hopefully you can see. All right, so you can see the cupped shape there on it. All right, so you want 3 of these, lads. Okay, what I should have said to you was we need 2 of these, and we need, okay, so we need 3 of these. So you'll have 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and these lads here either side. Alrighty, our final petal then, this is not going on the veining board. This is the biggie. This is the really cool throat. This is the whole center of the orchid. So what we do is we take some paste, and we just knead that a little small bit again. I'm going to take around about half of this, a good half, an Irish half, so we'll go a bit more than a half. We're going to roll this out just on the board this time, so no veins here. All right, so just roll that out. And when you're only starting to make these, don't go super fine, just till you get comfortable handling the paste and everything. All right, so you don't want to go super fine. You don't really want to move this paste, but if you did, a little trick for you, roll on the paste, roll off it. Now pull it back. Okay, and you see how it lifts it? As you roll off it, press and pull it back, and that'll move it. So then you're not trying to kind of catch it at the edges and everything. All right, take your cutter, pop that on. And this, because there's so many kind of ins and outs on this cutter, definitely get the acrylic block, press that down so you get it nice and a nice clean cut on it. Okay. And again, there are lots and lots of different brands, different cutters and veiners out there. So you want to just pop off all that paste. Pop off your cutter. Let's go. I'm just going to switch foam pads for you because you'll see this better on the blue, because this is the stuff now that'll send you over the edge. All right, pop out our veiner, or at least our cut. Look at that. Isn't that fabulous? Okay, so there are veiners that you can buy for this center part. To be honest, I don't vein these a lot of the time, all right, because you're not going to really see it. Okay, so I don't vein this a huge amount. What I do is I just soften that a little small bit. I push that down, leave them alone for a minute, the 2 tails, soften out the 2 wings, leave that alone. Move to a smaller ball tool, smaller end, push that out, pull in. push out, pull in. What I'm doing is I'm going out to the edge, but I'm not going off, and pull in. Same, out and back in, out and back in. That's going to curl. You see what's happening? Okay. These guys here, and I want to try and do this upside down if I can. These guys here, if you've got hot hands, a little bit of corn flour, roll them. Look, look. You can leave them if you want to leave them, but you know, live on the edge. Look at that, look at that, look at that. So you get these tails. Now, if I was doing these for competition work, I would actually take off half this and I would roll that down till it gets thread thin. Okay, so you go as comfortable as you are. This little piece here, that's curled a small bit, okay? What you want to do then is you want to take a second piece, you want to take a second piece of paste, and we want to make the center. This is the stigma and the anther and the column, okay? So that's this part here. So we want to make a piece like this. We're going to take a little wee small piece of glue, okay? You want to put a little bit of glue here, okay? Hold on now, hold on. We're taking a smaller ball tool. Generally these ball tools, you'll get them in kind of sets and everything, all right? So what we want to do on this little capsule part here, let me just be certain you can see. Can you see now? Okay, yeah. So we're going to pop in a little hole there, in here, and gradually just spread that. I'm keeping this, I'm not softening this here, okay? So I want that just kept. And this is the anther. This is, I think it's the male part of the flower. I think. Martina Cunningham, you'll know. It's the male part, I think. Okay, so you're going to make a little small, all right? That goes there. We're just going to flatten that because that cap is now going to go on here. So can you see what we're getting? It will make sense in a second. The only other thing that you need to do is, and I'll do it all in white. I'm going to take a little wee piece of paste, a wee piece like this. Okay, I'm going to roll that into a ball. I'm going to roll that into a capsule. Then I'm going to cut it in half-ish. Okay, now roll each half, and just by doing that it means you get both halves the same, okay? Because I have crooked eye, so I wouldn't never make two pieces the same. So these two are my pollen tracts, all right? Now I'm going to pop these right here, okay? If it's a thing, you know, you're a bit like me, I've, you know, country hands. We're going to pop that there, okay? And then just with your ball tool, just make sure that they're flattened down. So this is your pollen tract, all right? Okay so far? So let me just show you all sides. Can you see? There is one brand of cutter, or one brand of veiner, excuse me, that is exactly this shape. It's quite a bit more tricky to actually make it on it, and I would only use it for competition work. Certainly not for commercial flowers, because well, if you're getting paid enough, absolutely, but you know, for commercial flowers, you've got to kind of be able to make these fast. So this is the center part made. Now I have another very expensive piece of kit. Where's that gone now? Okay, so are you ready for this? This here, I had to eat them, toffees, but these make the most perfect drying chamber for orchids, throats. I'm telling you, no expense spared. So what I do is I take again a 26 gauge wire, or you can go 24 if you want to go a little small bit higher, into the glue and off with the excess. Always off with the excess. So 2 rules: cut your wire at a 45-degree angle, don't leave extra glue on your wires. Now I'm coming in at the back and I'm threading that wire in there, so it's going into the throat, okay, in here. I am then popping it in there. So look at that. Who knew? Toffee make molds for sugarcraft, hey? So now you can fix the little tails, you know, fix them to whatever way that you want them to go. Make sure that that's popped up. So can you see? All right. Hopefully that's not blinding you. So you can see. So leave it alone. Just go away. Go away and leave it alone and have tea. Don't go away now because I'm staying here, but you know, don't touch it and leave it alone, let it dry, okay? So I don't touch that now until it's dry. All right, so that's how you make your parts, if you like. So basically, just to recap for you guys, and I'll just get some of the parts that I already have here. And just let me get a few of these. I have everything lined up for you. So the parts you need are, you need 2 of these wing petals, okay? You need 3 of the sepals, okay? And you need a throat. So that's the parts, okay? They're your parts for it. And you can make then also, if you want to do a couple of little buds on it. All right. This here is actually a throat of, it's another orchid, Martina again. That's the one that we were talking about. That's the lip petal. Okay, so you'd make the sepal slightly separate, at least, to it. Okay, so is that okay? So they're your main parts for the orchid flower. Is that all right? Again, if you have any questions, just shout. Absolutely no harm in asking any questions. So then we start to colour, and generally, as everyone will know, anyone that's watched the videos, I will always make all my petals and then I will clean down and then I'll colour everything, just for the simple reason everyone knows the colour, it just travels, something desperate. So, you know, I don't want to get cerise pink flower dust as I found it today on my handbag. But anyway, we rescued it, it was fine. So we're going to take this out. What I use then is that I actually use a dusting box, is what I normally set up on it. So that's just here, okay? So I've got my dusts and I've got all my parts and everything is ready to go. It's just a box with tissue. You know, like I say, I just crafters have to be crafty. Isn't that about the size of it? So the colors that I'm using, and this is just for this particular one, is that I've got this gorgeous, this is a peony pink. There's a peony rose, so they're lovely, strong kind of colors. This one here then is a little bit more dusky. It's actually a nice vintage pink. And also this one, these are nice dusky colors. Okay. And then we have green, and we have a little small bit of, this is a buttermilk yellow. All right. There's no set brand that I kind of love. I go for the color. There are some colors, and actually I was using green here earlier on, but there's some colors, and if they're not kind of blended properly, then you can get the blue coming out on them, or different colors sort of coming out on them. So as I say, there's no sort of set color that I like. So when you want to start then on coloring these up, what we do is I use flat end brushes. So I'm just going to take out small bits of my color that I want, and just let me be certain you can see. So we have our cerise pink, our peony rose here. I'm just taking out a little small bit of the dusky pink. Small bit, she says, and she tips half it out. Have some yellow. The dusky pink then I have the touches of green. So they're basically, just for this peony, they're basically what I'm using. So what I'll do is I'll start on the lighter colour here, okay? And always with the brushes, I use flat brushes, and I generally keep, because you can see how the colour will stain the bristles, so I'll generally keep a brush for pink, a brush for green. But I mean, I do hundreds and hundreds of flowers. I do a lot of flowers, so it's just very hard to get the pigment out of it. If you are having trouble and you want to clean it and you're short on brushes, get yourself a spoonful of corn flour, pour it onto your board, and just keep working the brush in it, and it'll actually take out a lot of the pigment out of it. Okay, so starting in a little bit of the dusky, and I'm cradling the petal in my hand. So I'm under my thumb, I'm holding the wire, and I'm cradling the petal here in my hand, and I'm starting at the base and I'm coming up. Now you will see the veins come to life, and I hope you can see it on the camera. And I'm coming up, I'm not coming up the whole ways, all right, because that would defeat the purpose of making the petal in a paler colour. Can you see the veins starting to come up a little small bit? Okay, so we're going front and back. Okay, some orchids, the colour is only on the centre. So I'm just coming up about a third of the way, all right? And I'm going to just do a couple of these petals because I have done a set. I don't want to sit here dusting petals for you and you'll just say, come on, the 9 o'clock news is coming on. I have to go and see what the Queen said and what Boris says and the Kenny and all the rest. I need to know. But anyway, stick with me, guys, stick with me. This is worth sticking out. Okay, so we're just giving those a light little dust, 2/3 of the way up, as I say. All right. These petals here then, the sepal petals, again, just a small bit up. And kind of sometimes you're looking and you're saying, oh, I'll just put on another bit. But actually when the whole thing comes together, if you've overdone it, it tends to look a little bit gaudy. So particularly if you're doing these in a strong colour, some orchids are a very, very strong colour. So less is a bit more, because when you put this together, then you will see it'll all just blend in. All right, so there are 5 petals here. Okay, there. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. Now I'm going to go into the peony rose, the peony pink. Okay, and I'm just coming up the lighter color pink. I came up about 2/3. This one here I coming up about 1/3. So I'm starting to shade and I'm starting to get that build up of color. Can you see? All right, and you should hopefully, yeah, there you go. Can you see now how it starts to lift all the veins and we start to get those colors on it? So we're just coming up 1/3 and 1/3. Okay, you can just fade out just that little small bit if you want to do that. All right, so is everyone doing all right? How's everybody going? I hope you've all had a pretty good week. And if I said it last week as well, if there is a flower that you'd like me to show, I've absolutely no problem showing it. Either message the page or message me, and I will surely. I've got the next, we're on number 4 now. I've the next 8 weeks lined up, so I'm on top of this, lads. I have you covered. Okay, so let me just take, and you can see here. Let me take this. So here's some throats that I have. Now, one thing that I did forget to say, sometimes I'll make the throats and I won't put in the wire. If you do that, that's fine. That's not a problem. If you do that and then you say, oh no, I don't have any throats because I can't get the wire in. What you do is you light a candle as we say in Ireland. I light a candle for you. Light a candle, get your wire and hold the wire in the flame until it glows. And what you want to do then is you want to hold this in your hand. This is one it's all broken. Hold the wire in the candle flame till it glows, and then and it'll insert into the back of the thing. So just, that's the same for any petals, and actually it'll seal then completely straight away for you. All right, so let me just grab one here that looks a bit decent, says you. This one will work perfect. Okay, so I generally have a batch of those kind of made up because I sell flowers and I send them all over the world, and sometimes you'll get a panic from, I have a wedding on Friday and I need a dozen orchids. Okay then. And so I've got to get cracking on them. So I generally have a bit of prep work doing them, and if I have a batch of these made in white, well, you can turn them into any colour, do you know, so it's a nice easy way. So we're taking the throat here. Now it comes to life, all right? And what we're going to do is we're taking the peony, we're coming back on the back of the petal, okay? Oh, I thought you said you were sitting here eating the toffees. It was actually hard work, but I thought you said you had a box of them there and you never offered me one. It was hard work, yeah, should see my figure. So I'm on the back of the petal, on the outer petal. I'm on the back of the outer petal there, And it's okay, it's catching the edge there, a little small bit of the little loop part. Now I want to get down into the center, okay? Don't do this now on a Saturday night after feed a drink. I'm getting in there, and I'm getting that pink all over that petal. Okay, and I'm getting in there. And you know, if you're doing this and it's just not going right, put it down, walk away. Just walk away from it and come back. Seriously, it works. I do a lot of competition work. I compete all over the world, really, over my time. And there's been times that you're just in the middle of the competition. I was at one in 1 year, and it's just not happening, not coming together. Put down the tools, walk away. And actually, this particular night, I happened to meet one of my colleagues who we were at a trade show, and I happened to meet one of my colleagues, but he was sleepwalking in his PJs down in the reception of the hotel. And so we sorted him out and got him back, and I went back and I finished the competition piece and I won. So I always thanked him for that, because, you know, he broke the tension, let's just say. Okay, so what I want to do then is I just want to find one. Okay, it's fine. So what I want to do then is I want to get back down here. I'm just switching up brushes because this brush is my yellow. I'm getting in here now, and I'm going to yellow that center. Let me find an angle. There you go. So I'm yellowing this. So yeah, if it's not happening, guys, you know, with cakes, just put down the tools and walk away. It's absolutely the best thing to do. The anther cap here is just a tip of yellow just on the nose of it. Okay, can you see? Okay, you can catch a little small bit of green just on there, on the little tip. And you can catch a little small bit of green on the back. Okay. So a wee bit. And in that throat, you end up having to turn this all sorts of angles to get in. In that throat there, I've just done a little bit of green as well. Okay. What I don't have on this one, and I'll just show you on a finished one in a second, because I got some of these guys. I did prep one, and I had one finished. But the pollen tracks, so the yellow tracks down here, what I do is, when I dust those with yellow, so I just dust those up with yellow, what I do then is I come back with my paintbrush, I paint in a small bit of glue just on the tip of those little tracks. Okay, so just there on those little tracks. Okay, then I take, this is my pollen, and I've pollen in, like, I don't know, 5 different colors or something like that. So this is just my pollen. So I have a little bit of glue on the tracks. Do you remember the 2 little teeny little capsules that I cut in half and then put those on? And what I do then is I just take a small bit of pollen, pop that on, and just shake off any excess, and you get the pollen then down on the tract. And you see I have a little bit of green in the center of it as well. All right, so that's just one little, keep that lad, because I knew I'd one kept. So just put on that little bit of pollen on the pollen tracks. All right. Anybody any questions? You're a very quiet bunch tonight. Shout away if I'm not making faces, or not making faces, if I'm not making sense or anything for you. Okay, so you've got it this far. What you want to do now is you want to take teeny weeny tiny brush, one that has like 6 petals, 6 bristles. Okay. And what I do here now is I paint. So switching up to a painting can, I'm taking my isopropyl alcohol. Okay. And actually, for anybody, I don't know if you guys can get hand sanitizers. Over here, it's a bit of a holy grail for hand sanitizers. You know, you can use the isopropyl for your hand sanitizers. I've been using it. I have a relative who's very ill at the moment, and I mix it with the help me out, aloe vera, witch hazel and tea tree oil, and it makes a hand sanitizer. I've been sending her down some so she can stay safe. Okay, so I've just put a few little drops in here. Do you like my speckledy paint thing? I got a little bit carried away painting some stuff last night. So again, I'm going to try and do this upside down for you. bit on the brush, but don't go excess here. Get off as much of that liquid as you can. And can you see this brush has 6 bristles? I counted them, 6 bristles. So I have a little bit of paint on here. Now what I'm doing, let me just check my angle for you. So I'm getting in here, dot, dot, dot. See now what I mean? You don't want to be at this after a feed of pints. Dot around. Can you see? Same on the next petal. Let me see there. So we want to come down, we want to dot. Now lads, if you put too much on, you can't take it off. Can't take it off. Okay? If you did go a bit heavy-handed on this, what you could actually do is you could actually get back in and you could overdust that a little small bit if you wanted to do that. So just pop on those little dots. Generally, there can be a little nose on this. I always think that little part there looks like a beak, like a little bird. There's generally 2 little dots. So you do your little dots there on that. You can catch the edges of the tails. Okay. And here is another one, so you can see. So I've gone a little, you see, a little bit down the throat. It's up to you. It's up to you what you want to do. Alrighty. Okay. So, I don't know if I'm missing comments. Hopefully I'm not missing any comments. If I am, please, I'll come back to them afterwards for you guys. So we're going to take our first wing petal here, and we're going to again take our paint, mix that up. The isopropyl obviously will evaporate very, very fast. So what you always want to do is you always want to mix it up. But just literally, I use a dropper bottle. Just literally mix a drop, you know, or a couple of drops, and then you can keep topping it up. All right, mix that in. And what I'm doing again is I'm cradling the petal in my hand. My little finger is resting on my hand here, because that just gives me balance. Okay, balance, you say. You'd need to be balanced, wouldn't you? Okay, so just pop all this, few little dots. You will see, and I'll do another petal now in 2 seconds. Some of the ones, the picture that I had up earlier on the cake artist page, was more veins in it. So literally, I'm just going to do those dots like this. Same on the second petal. Okay. Your dots there on this, and actually the three sepal petals, which are 3 outer petals, they are not. Guys, am I okay? I haven't crashed or anything, have I? Because oh, there I am back. See, this thing keeps on crashing. But I do have picture tonight. Last week the whole system had crashed just as I was starting, so calm the nerves and we just truck on. Okay. So you just do a series of little dots. You will only come up maybe halfways, or you know, you can do a random odd one, but that's it. Don't come, it depends on the orchid again that you're using. Get a picture of one, and you can see. David Close, how are you, sir? I hope you're keeping well. I just want to show you, so this petal here I've already dusted, and you can see the difference. I haven't gone as heavy on the bright pink, but on the orchid that I was talking on earlier on, you can add in your veins. So again, my fingers are supporting my hand, okay? Because if you're in mid-air, it's very hard to keep it straight. So what I'm doing is I've added my paint on and take most of it off, you know, wipe it off, okay? Don't just dip in and go, because just don't. I'm coming out now, but I'm coming out in lines this time. So just those, and I don't want these straight. They should be wavy. Can you see there? Okay, so they should be wavy. So, you know, this is a job for when you've got peace and quiet and you don't have someone shouting at you. Sometimes there will be a little crossbar on it. Can you see there? I too much paint on the brush, so you get this kind of blob there of it. So you just want to fade out those little veins there. Fade them out. And then fill it in with dots. Now, if you kind of think, oh, it's a little bit heavy and, you know, it looks a bit kind of, it will fade as it dries. But actually, just let me grab this brush. So what you can do is, if you want this to fade back down, you can just overdust, and you see it'll just fade back out those little, so it'll not be so strong looking on it. But it's completely up to you, and it's up to whatever whatever orchid that you're doing. I do like the speckledy paint dish though. As I say, I was painting some, what was I making the other day? I can't tell you actually, because it's for a competition, so I can't tell you. But I was painting stuff and I got a bit carried away and kind of spattered. However, so that's basically the makings of your parts then, okay? Going to get rid of that one with the lines because obviously I want these guys then to match up for me. Then we want to put it together. I've a couple of little just buds there as well, and I'm just going to let me clear these down, and I'll just give them a bit of green. Okay, so a small little bit of green, and what I want then is okay, I just want a carrier wire. So I'm almost there. I'm sorry if I'm keeping anybody from 9 o'clock news. I know how important the news is these days. Now here's the thing. I want a carrier wire for these. So generally we've made these on a 26 gauge wire, okay? So if you now tape these all up together, they'll tend to flop around a little small bit. So what I do is I always use a carrier wire. Okay, and basically that just means it's going to give you that sturdiness of the flower. Okay, so you can pick your pieces. Now the one I have to hand, this is a 22 gauge. It's still quite flimsy, so let's say it's all you have to hand, okay, and you don't have another one. Cut it in half, join the two together, and tape the two together. So now you've got yourself a good strong wire. And with the florist tape, all this florist tape, it's a paper tape. So what will happen is, so I've just taped the two together, okay? When you get the florist tape first, you can buy it in all sorts of different colors. This is called full width, okay? So it's so wide. You can also buy half width tape, and half width tape, it's the same width, but it's already cut for you. So very rarely you'll use actually full width tape on its own because it ends up just being too thick, you know, on the flowers. So if you use half width tape, this is already cut and you've got 2 rolls in the packet. Is that okay? Sometimes the different color ones, like the red, I don't think you can get that in half width tape, so you do have to cut it yourself. Okay, so I've taken 22 gauge wire, I've cut the length of wire in two, and I've taped the two together. So now I have a stronger carrier wire. Does that make sense? So now I can build my orchid on this. Susan, do I sell dusts? I do, absolutely. My website is sweetcreations.ie, and I've all the cutters, the molds, the flower paste, the dust, the pollen, lots of different bits and pieces on it, but I do have the dusts, yeah. So when you go to use the florist tape, it's paper tape. So first of all, it's dry. And you kind of think, oh, this is not going to stick, it's not going to work. Pull it out, stretch it out, and you can see the colour change. Now, you hear? So now there's a clack. That releases the glue for you, okay? Just pull out a little bit as you want to go. So when you want to start building this, we're going to attach the tape onto our carrier wire, okay? We're going to put on our top petals. So remember, if I show you here, let me show you. This is the formation of your petals, okay, basically. And then he goes, and the throat goes in the middle. So I'm going to put on that top petal first. Give that a couple of twists, okay. Now I bend that back. And this is just easier work. Your wire, then pull that down so it's nice and tight. Now don't tug it, it's not concrete, lads, it's sugar. Okay, so don't tug it. So get that nice and tight. So now you don't want to see a gap up here at the top. You want that to be nice and secure. Take your first sepal petal. I'm holding it where the wire actually is in the petal. Bend that back, pop that on, give it a turn, okay? So now you will see the shape starting to form. I'm taking my next sepal petal, I'm bending that back there, and you're always holding it here where the wire is, okay? Rini, how are you, my darling? Carol, you're surviving. Okay. Marion, no one in her is hear the news. Good. Well, that's a good thing. All right. So you can see. So this is our top, and then we've our 2 side ones. Now, because these are all individually wired, you can move them about afterwards anyway. It's not a problem. Okay, then I want to take my inner petals. So I'm taking these and I'm bending them there again and I'm putting them inside. Alrighty. So now you can see the less dusting. You don't need a lot of dusting, especially when it's a heavy colour, because you can see now it's all, suddenly you've got lots of dust or colour on it. I'm taking my next petal here, I'm bending this back, popping that in, so it's going on the inside. Okay, I'm just giving it a turn or two just to secure the petal, and obviously you can move these afterwards. What I do then is I'll take each wire and pull that, just leave out the tail now. I've done that petal, so it's just going to tighten them all down there for you. Pop that down and don't pull them too hard, and that lad there, so they get nice and tight. All right, so that's your center. Okay, pull these back down, and normally you can just give that a couple of turns. Now I'm right-handed, so I always hold the tape in my left hand. My left hand is kind of my guide hand, because this hand, my right hand, is working the petals and getting them in. It probably looks like my left hand on camera, but my right hand is holding petals. This hand here, it's always holding the wire and it's holding the tape, so it's kind of like crochet or knitting, holding the thing, the tape, and it just controls it. Okay, so this is our reposition these lads, get you up there, and again, because they're wired, they will all hold. Now you want to get your throat in. Okay, so he goes in here. It's actually the he and the she part of the flower. Comes around here. And if you're making these, and especially if you're making these, let me just fix this, because when you're doing it upside down, it's a little bit harder. So when you're making these and you're making them for competition, make about half a dozen of them if you only want one. Isn't that right, David Close? So you can pick the exact one you want. Okay. Can you see now? Now you see it's off center, so that's okay. We can just maneuver that, or you can maneuver these. And can you see now how nice and cupped this is? Spin that, so all the time I'm releasing the glue and I'm spinning this down. Okay, so this gives you, there's your orchid. Okay, and what you want to do then is we just want to pop in a couple of little buds, because always if you look at a stem of orchids, there's always a couple of buds on it. So I'm just going to put a bit of tape on those, because normally my buds and my petals, I will make them on white wire. So I just want to take small carrier wire here this time. It's just a white wire that I have to hand. Generally for carrier wires, it depends how many flowers that you're putting on it, but you'll use a 22, about a 20-22 gauge wire. So pop this on, a little bud on there. I'm going to come down an inch or so, thereabouts, pop on my next bud, and there's nearly always a few buds just at the top of the flower itself. Okay, now I'm going to bend this down just a little bit, because it sort of looks out at you. Hello. Do any of the rest of you talk to your sugar flowers? I talk to them all the time. Okay, so I'm just attaching on the tape. I'm taking my buds and I'm attaching them in, so I want them just to be a small bit higher. Okay, spin this around, don't spin it too hard, because that's, and make sure you're not going to hit a table or a camera, phone, or whatever you have. Pop this around, and then what you want to do is just want to give it a small little bit of movement so you can see. So let me just bring in these guys here that I also made. So now you see, you can get yourself a nice little stem of them. All right, so it pops them on. Let me just leave them here for you that you can see. Actually, this one here that I've just made, this one is actually made with white paste. This one here is made with a more creamy paste, so you can see the difference of it. And you can also see on this one here, what I did was one petal has the veins, you know, the elongated veins that I did, and this one here has the little dots and spots on it. Okay, So basically, look, that's how I make my orchids, my moth orchids. They are one of my most favourite flowers to make. I love making them. I have got the next 8 weeks lined up if you fancy joining me on a Sunday night, if Her Madge is not making another speech, but hopefully you'll be able to join me on another one. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's me. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I wish you all well. I wish you all health during the week and everything. In case you did miss, we raised a glass earlier. We had a toast to a few different people. It's Latina, Ger, happy birthdays. Latina, welcome home. Helen, welcome home. We toasted for Sarah Lou for this week. We're all thinking about her. And also we raised a toast to all of the frontline workers who are obviously, you know, working, all of the frontline workers who are working so hard. So look, I hope that you've picked up a few little bits and pieces. If you do have any questions, please do ask. Just a couple of them there that's coming in. Where do you get isopropyl? Most sugarcraft shops. Sometimes you'll get them in chemists, but a lot of sugarcraft shops, if you can get it, it's gone close on being sold out because it's been used a lot for hand sanitizers and everything, so it is quite hard. But look up the isopropyl alcohol and you should be able to find it in your sugarcraft supply shop. If you can't get isopropyl alcohol, get like a clear alcohol, like a vodka or a gin or something like that, and it'll work for you as well. That you can use it to paint if you can't get the isopropyl, or if it's a thing that you don't use take alcohol or have alcohol in the house, you can use lemon extract, or you can use like the lemon extract is pretty good because it's a sort of good high level, and you can use it for painting. So if you prefer not to have alcohol, then you can use it instead. But otherwise, a clear alcohol, if not the isopropyl, a clear alcohol. So vodka or gin is probably a good one. So look, thank you so much. Thanks everybody for watching and for sharing. Thanks for all the messages during the week. Really do appreciate them. And I shall see you again next Sunday night when I am doing, I'm going doing, what am I going doing? I'm going doing lilies next Sunday night. So I have Casablanca lilies. That's what I'm doing Sunday night. I have the next 2 weeks lined up and prepped. Thanks everybody for watching and for coming along. Stay safe and have a really good week. Have a good healthy week. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you.